Hey everybody, welcome back to Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. We're going on to the first main world of the game, and starting off this second episode, I have with me a guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Colin Grant, and I'm being held here against my will. Please help.
That's the intro. That's what we're going with.
I mean, I just wanted to mess around. That's what I like to do.
That's fair. So, last episode, we just went through the first two levels of the game on Insanity Peak. Met first mask, got the plot set up, basic stuff. So now we're going to actually be heading into the main meat of the game, and I'm showing off some of the skins that you get for various things, such as Activision account, PlayStation 5 upgrade, digital version, and the first ones I got for completing the first two levels. Be playing the main game with just the basic Crash and Coco skins for cutscene's sake, but I show off every skin that I unlock after I get it.
Alright.
Skins are nice. They're fun to get. Some of them aren't worth getting for the hassle, but I will be going for all gems, so I'll be getting almost every single one of them.
Oh boy.
But yeah, we're starting off with the first world. We've got a cutscene coming up that will introduce us to our bad guy of this world, and then we'll start the first level.
So, we need the other masks to close the rifts?
Correct. Now, my brother Akano is around here somewhere. Welcome to the show, your precious mask. Behold the aforementioned putts.
Don't worry. We have a thing where we fight, he loses. It's a well-established dynamic.
Not this time. I've got a backstage pass for you to get up close and personal with my weapon of mass percussion. I'm ready to rock.
So first boss of the game is actually Engine, which is different than most of the other Crash games, and we're showing off Lonnie Lowly's phase ability here. He can send things from one dimension to another. But yeah, desert levels. Not usually a big fan of these, but these ones are actually quite fun. So Colin, tell me, what is your history with Crash Bandicoot?
So it's kind of like this. It kind of coincided with my whole interest in video games as a whole. I was growing up in like somewhere in northern Idaho, and I didn't have preschool yet, so I went to a babysitter's house. And at that house was a PS2 and a Nintendo 64. I played the N64 for a little bit, and then once I managed to play the PS2, one of those games was Crash Nitro Kart. And in that game, I was sucked at it, but I loved playing it anyway. For some reason, I would always pick Oxide just because I liked the design of the wheels on his cart.
Okay.
And because of that, I heard a lot about Crash through commercials and all that. I specifically remember this thing at Barnes & Noble where we asked these people as Santa's elves, like saying, hey, so what do you want for Christmas? Top of my list was Crash Twinsanity because it looked extremely fun. I never got it until like years and years later. But I still love the game though, it's really fun. I did play briefly of Crash 3 at like this summer camp rec center that I used to go to, alongside Spyro 3 as well. I just specifically remember, I think either Cortex or Dingodile saying something, or Uka Uka saying something to Crash and Coco. And for the Spyro thing, I just remember, find the eggs and bring them back, Spyro. That whole thing. I didn't know like the full context of Crash until I saw a video by Some Call Me Johnny, where he did a Crash Bandicoot marathon. Apparently, you have to break all the boxes in order to get like to get completion bonuses, and apparently the original game was incredibly difficult. And it wasn't until I played the Insane trilogy where I figured out, okay, yes, this is pretty difficult. I'm glad I'm not playing the original games. But yeah, I've been very familiar with Crash. I also remember getting Crash of the Titans on my Xbox 360. My brother and I used to play co-op on it all the time. And I found the game fun after I replayed it. And I especially love when Crash was beating up the henchmen. The henchmen actually just speak back to you, like, "Ow, oh, that hurts. Oh, why did he hit me?" Like, in sort of like a Jerry Lewis kind of voice. And then it brought me over to here, where I learned a little more about Crash through CTR. I played CTR Nitro Fueled a lot, and throughout that whole time I was trying to get all the skins because I figured, oh if I don't get all the skins, they're gonna be lost forever. That's gonna be like that's gonna be a little iffy for me, but then I realized I was an idiot and that wasn't actually true. And that's how I got to talk about all that. And yeah, let's see. And then I saw the announcement to Crash 4. Oh wait, almost forgot. I learned a little more about CTR through a favorite YouTuber of mine known as Chris Raygun, who talks about his love for CTR so much where he believes it's objectively better than Mario Kart, saying that he can prove it in court. And yeah, back to Crash 4. I was surprised that they actually decided to do it, and maybe it's because of the success of the Insane trilogy and in case the Reignited as well and all that. But yeah, I managed to pre-order Crash 4. I don't know why they hid the demo behind a pre-order wall. That's kind of scummy. And then
specifically digital pre-orders.
Yeah. Well, at least there's that. But I played the game. I did have fun, but not all the time. Not all the time, I'll tell you what. This level, however, I really enjoy because, I don't know, I love the Mad Max aesthetic, and I love the boss battle, because I'm a metalhead myself, and in hearing like a metal drums happening, it's really amazing.
Yeah, this is by far probably one of my absolute favorite incarnations of Engine. It's a toss-up. I like this version of him a lot, but I also have such a soft spot for Nolan North's portrayal of him. Yeah. But I really like the direction they took with him in this basically new timeline we're in.
Yeah. I do like Nolan North's voice better. It looks like it's more easier on the throat when trying to do like an impression. Not my throat! I need that for swallowing! As for Engine here, it's like Igor from Frankenstein.
Yes, mister. Everything is according to plan.
Yeah, I like this guy's performance. Wasn't the biggest fan of it in Insane Trilogy, but I think he definitely got a hold of the character more in this game. Also, something I didn't show off here. I was playing on a mode called Modern Mode, where you have unlimited lives. I was just showing off that you can die as many times as you want, even though I didn't die. But I switched it to Retro for the rest of the playthrough, because that's just how I play Crash games, with lives. But I figured I would just show it off, that there is an option to play the game in Modern and Retro mode. If you're new to the series, I recommend Modern, because you can die as many times as you want and you won't get game over. But if you're a veteran of the series, Retro's basically exactly what you expect from the series.
Yeah, I picked Modern mode because I don't want any flashbacks to Insane Crash 1.
That's fair.
It has not been
I'm glad there's an option for it.
Yeah, I agree. Just
that, and every time he takes off the ground, you might see that yellow circle underneath his feet to tell you where he's going to land. You can turn that off too if you want, but I like that because it really helps, especially in some of the later platforming where it's kind of hard to tell your depth.
Oh Oh yeah, that circle has saved my life more than I can count.
Yeah, this game has a lot of accessibility to it that I like. I actually am happy that there's a colorblind option as well, because I actually have a friend who's colorblind.
Oh. Like, last time I heard about colorblind gaming, just Overwatch kind of did that. That's the last I heard, though.
Yeah, these are some fun levels. I like them a lot. Up here's a nice reference to Mega Mix from Crash Bandicoot: The Huge Adventure, but that's his render from CTR.
Huh. I've never actually played any of the GBA games. I mean, I had a GBA, and I guess I was aware that Crash had GBA levels, but I'm not really sure if I remember it, basically. And
they're solid games. I would recommend them to people. I grew up with them though, so I've kind of got a bit of a bias towards them. But I did play them last year I did a marathon of the series leading up to Crash 4, and I still thought that almost all of them held up pretty well.
Alright. And, what else is there? I never really bothered with, like, the color gems, because sometimes you have to go, like, absurd ways to grab them. Like, in one of the levels, you cannot break any kind of box, and some of it is kind of vital for trying to get through the game comfortably. Like, you're trying to avoid boxes like the plague, and the boxes are like, it's like it's like walking down the sidewalk, but you're trying to avoid, I don't know, like, every single irregularity on the concrete.
Yeah, completion, I don't think just anybody should go out of their way for completion in Crash. I'm glad there's an option to see at least an ending if you don't go out of your way. Sometimes it's better to just not complete them. I personally have always enjoyed it, more so as an adult than I did a kid. I'm kind of that weird person that actually really likes to 100% the first Crash game.
Yeah.
I think the first game is an underrated classic that gets better the older I get, actually, rather than the older it gets.
Wow. I don't think I have, like, the patience for that, or the sanity for it, at least. Because even when I played Bloodborne, I still feel like Crash 4 is still more painful.
Yeah, Crash is certainly not the easiest platformers.
This is kind of why I prefer...
And I would definitely...
Sorry.
Spyro.
I prefer Spyro personally, but I'm more familiar with Crash.
I grew up with both, so I have my soft spot for both of them a lot.
For Spyro... I
prefer the Spyro trilogy over the Crash trilogy, but I think Crash as an entire series I like more than I do Spyro, because I think he had better games after Naughty Dog stopped working on his games rather than Spyro, but that's just me.
I mean, Naughty Dog nowadays has kind of gone downhill after but
yeah, agreed.
But I personally I prefer Spyro because I love the fun challenges, with some exceptions, of course, and it's because I found them a little more easier. I was aware of Spyro as a kid, but I only played A Hero's Tale, and that was it as a kid. And again, except for Spyro 3. You know, these henchmen right here kind of just remind me of, like, I don't think they're even Engine's minions. I think they're just people that he paid as bodyguards to guard his concert or something. They're like,
okay, I'm going to need you to protect my concert. Make sure no one gets in without a ticket.
Crash could have just bought a ticket and boom, he's in.
Yeah, I don't like these as much as I like his Doom Monkeys from Titans. I think his Doom Monkeys were far superior minions. But I kind of like the punk rock aesthetic for his minions. I like this direction they're taking with Engine. It's probably the most creative they've gotten with him since that game. Because while I like Engine, his original character was kind of bland, and it wasn't until Titans that I really fell in love with the character. And I think 4 is kind of this nice middle ground between the Titans era and the original Engine.
With all I really remember with Titans, because I had this tendency to like reset a game if it got too hard. It was like that with Spyro Hero's Tale and the Batman Arkham Asylum game. But here's what I remember the most about it. I just remember Cortex spilling tea all over his face, and he enjoys it for some reason. Like, Engine, is there something you're not telling us or something? Like, why would
that?
Sorry.
That I know you said earlier that this Engine reminds you more of Igor, but the way that he talked in that scene and the way he referred to him as Master and took enjoyment in it, that reminded me a lot of like the more Igor-esque character as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think Engine was supposed to be like Igor, and maybe Cortex is like Dr. Frankenstein or something.
I don't know if I like that look on Coco or not.
I mean, I kind of do. But I prefer Totally Tubular.
Totally Tubular is debatably my favorite skin for Coco, but the only exception would probably be the pirate skin for her.
For me, I'd personally say either the artist skin, or there's like a skin that kind of just makes her look like Dolly Parton, but she's just a superhero. As for Crash, the caveman one adds a bit more fluff to him, which is why, unpopular opinion, I do kind of like the Crash Titans design, not because of the tattoos, but because it added more fluff to him.
I actually do like the Titans design of him quite a bit. The tattoos never bothered me.
So those were those boxes were. That's why I kept messing up.
Also, if you're looking for a certain colored gem, that scribble on the wall was your hint on where to find it.
Oh boy. I think as of now I'm on the pirate world right now. And I'll tell you this, there are some bits of this game like I am not a fan of. The difficulty I kind of expected, that's not really a problem. The problem for me is that, I don't know, with the double jump, once the air crash stops briefly and then, like, arcs over, and that can get a little, messy at times. And I just do not like some of the inverted modes. Some of them actually hurt my eyes.
Yeah, I feel like when the next game comes out, that's something they need to ditch, because clearly nobody liked those, myself included. I liked some, but for the sake of going for completion, I don't think those should have been required.
I felt like my eyes shriveled up into something, because that was not fun, I'll tell you what. I mean, it was worth it to get some of the skins. I kind of liked the balloon skin on Crash. And what I loved about the balloon skin is that Crash's mouth... Crash doesn't have a mouth, so it just looks like he's being expressionless while he's falling flat on his face.
And there's also a unique death animation for it, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, he pops and just flies around. I love that. I love that death animation. And one more criticism, I don't like playing as Cortex in this game.
Generally, that is a pretty relatable opinion that I've noticed online. Definitely my least favorite out of all the characters to play as. I don't hate playing as him, but if I could take one character and not bring them back in the next game, it would be him, easily.
Just let him be the villain, because his jump is too tiny. I'm pretty sure his big head is weighing him down. and his dash is too mighty number 9-ish. The ray gun he has that turns enemies into platforms, that was kind of cool, but really that was just about it. There's really nothing else. Nothing else that's special. And I'll tell you this, his tiny jump has gotten me killed so many times, and I'll tell you, it's annoying. It's really annoying, and I just don't like playing as Cortex. Tana, on the other hand, I loved playing as.
Yeah, she's fun, and my favorite out of all the characters to play as, besides Crash and Coco, is Dingodile. I love him.
Oh, Dingodile with his floating vacuum cleaner. It sucks that he doesn't have his like flamethrower because I don't know. It's kind of satisfying to just flame enemies just to get them out of your way, but I mean the vacuum works fine too. Because
I was surprised that he didn't have that.
I
mean, it kind of fits his character with the direction they took him this time.
I'm pretty sure he got that vacuum is his flamethrower. He just converted it to a vacuum cleaner to quote-unquote clean the floors in his restaurant, because I'm pretty sure Dingodile's the kind of restaurant owner who would put a bad review over his window just to cover up the D from the health inspector.
I could see it.
And I'm pretty sure that was Tana's voice.
What are you talking about? The subtitle said it was question mark, question mark, question mark.
No, I heard Tana's voice, so aw yeah.
That's the joke.
Right.
Another chase level to end off the last level in this world, but this time it's a little different. Bringing back a concept from the Wrath of Cortex of all things.
I'm not gonna... Sorry.
Oh, you're okay.
Alright. I'm not gonna lie, this kind of reminded me of the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland, because I'm a theme park nerd as well. I used to go to theme parks like a lot. This kind of reminded me of like the final ending to the ride. And another Disneyland connection that it kind of had was what was it? Was the level of Offbeat, where it sounded a lot like it looked a lot like New Orleans Square at Disneyland, and had oh, so that's where the green trail is. Okay. And the music reminded me a little of Splash Mountain.
Okay. I've never been to Disneyland or World, unfortunately.
I'll tell you this, at least the ball actually controls nice, and at least engine breaks the crates for you.
Yep. That applies to all chase levels too, so that's helpful.
Let's just hope engine has insurance.
In this dimension, probably not.
I mean, I'm pretty sure insurance in this is just like, here, have some twigs. We'll build you a new truck.
He's a genius. He'll probably figure out how to fix it.
I mean, but the thing is, you don't give him a peanut and expect him to have a farm the next day. It's got to take time. Ooh, I love that skin. That is actually my favorite skin for Crash.
Really?
Yeah, because I just love the neon to it.
Gotcha.
And this is my favorite boss battle.
Alright, all you bloodthirsty lunatics. Put your freaky little hands together for Rocket Head! 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Prepare for
When I first saw the trailer for this game and I saw Engine beating on drums in a giant mech, there was nothing that hyped me up for this game more than that.
Ooh. Yeah, me too, especially since around the time that came out, when I first played this battle, I decided to do a little experiment. So what I did, I put my Spotify playlist over Engine's boss battle with the song, I think it was the Perfect Insanity by Disturbed, my favorite band of all time. And it actually fits really well. I'm pretty sure if you put like... I'm pretty sure what they were trying to do is like if you put any kind of metal song into Engine's battle, then it would actually fit really well.
That's cool. I'll have to try that. Obviously, I can't put that on YouTube for obvious reasons, but that'd be kind of fun to try out just for myself.
So far, I just tested The Night. These are all by Disturbed. The Night, Indestructible, Stricken. Just any song with like a good drum beat should probably work.
It's pretty interesting that Engine gets the first boss, though. That he's usually safe for nearly the end of the game, usually. This time he's front and center at the beginning. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. And here's the kind of embarrassing moment. When I first saw this boss battle, I didn't know what to do with those minions coming at me. So I was like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? I was like incredibly lost. Okay, what do I do? And then I realized, oh, I slide into them, knock them onto the amp. Okay, I get it now.
How long did it take you to realize that?
Around 10 minutes, I think.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's all I can remember. And as for this, I feel like if you fall into that thing, you're just gonna suffer death by mosh pit.
You're gonna basically be carried away by the crowd.
Like a stage dive. Like Jack Black from School of Rock, he tries to jump down for the audience to carry him and just falls flat on his stomach.
Yep. And then they just throw Crash or Coco in the trash.
That just reminds me of like a high school movie where they just toss the nerd in the trash.
My beautiful creation.
Looks like Akano's blasting off again.
I didn't realize he was like supposed to be the bass drum.
Colin, do you have any social medias that you would like to plug so that people can find you?
So my Twitter is, and I'm not kidding, my Twitter is TURDMANJOE1, TurdmanJoe1. I'm immature, I know. My YouTube is the same name, Colin Grant, but that's not my actual name. I'm keeping that private. My Steam is Homer Simpson. Yes, I'm not even kidding. But yeah, you on social media, you usually just find me like talking about just a bunch of weird stuff, and sometimes I post heavy metal furry art, but not that kind of furry art. Ugh. I just draw them performing heavy metal music, and that's it.
All right. Well, glad to have had you here. It was a good time.
All right, thank you.
And next time, guys, we'll be heading off to the next dimension. I'll see you guys then.